All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Tuesday, October 31st, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. We'll also be doing day trading starting this Friday. Have some more details on that Thursday for members, and that'll be in our new Discord. So anyways, let's get into the markets here today. So markets here today with a pretty decent bid. Spiders up 63 basis points. Triple Q's up just about 0.5%, and the Dow up 38, and the Russell having a decent day as well. Pretty much everything closing right at the highs of the day for the most part. A lot of weird stuff going on, though. Definitely a spooky day for Halloween. We do have AMD reporting after the bell. I don't think they're out yet, but I'll take a look at them as I get a chance. But, you know, big semiconductor, and that is an important name, obviously. But some weirdness going on here today. So, first of all, spiders are up, 63 basis points, a decent pop. The VIX is down 8.5%, almost 9% at one point. Now, the market's getting a bid. And in fact, I mean, you can go back here, last two sessions, 21 to 18, that's what, like 15%. In the last two sessions. Now, yes, the market was up nicely, so you'd expect the VIX to be lower, but this is in front of an FOMC. It's very unusual. Usually, even if the market's going to be green ahead of the FOMC, the VIX is going to hold up. Not to say that it has to be green, but seeing it down that much, it's very strange. Usually it works the other way around. Usually the VIX is elevated, vol is elevated, implied volatility is elevated ahead of a volatility event. And we're seeing this dumped pretty hard. Why is that weird? Well, again, are they doing this just to get cheap puts for tomorrow? I don't know. It could be a thing. Definitely got to be careful of that. I don't like the gap up, as I've told you guys. It's not very healthy. I would prefer a gap down in a reversal. As you guys know, did a whole video on that last week. Check it out. And we do have some resistance here at this lower level, so that could be an area to watch tomorrow. On the other hand, maybe somebody knows something, right? So the fulcrum of the market right now should be US dollar, Japanese yen, and that's getting a huge bid. I talked about this yesterday, came back down, and then it got a huge bid today. The last time we were at this level, they had to intervene, essentially. And, we're basically through almost a double top. I think we actually have to pierce double top a little bit, maybe by like $1 or so. But either way, that's a big deal. Take a look where the market here, this is where we reversed here in the summer, right? And that was the big deal. They announced that peeling back of that yield curve control. When did we top out? Right in the middle of July. So that freaked the market out, and we've been going down ever since. So a lot going on here. Maybe somebody knows that they're about to intervene, and maybe that's why they're just dumping the VIX out of the FOMC, because maybe the FOMC, believe it or not, is like something of a sideshow. I don't know. I can't tell you for sure. But right now, all we know is that this level here will be resistance. If you get through that, it's the 200 and the 20-day. I still think this market can have one more push down in it. As you guys know, I don't like the gap. I don't think it's healthy. So we'll see. Maybe they have to have one more panic low. We never really got a good vol spike. I would like a good vol spike. We kind of had one last week, but it wasn't anything too special. We never had a really big surge in the vol. The selling here the entire time has been very controlled. So just keep that in mind here. One thing I will say for the bulls, definitely a point here. I talked about this in the short this morning. You can see right there. That's your June low. And you're going to look on a monthly. We closed above that today, obviously, the last day of the month. So that is definitely a positive. You're also going to see some important names like NVIDIA. That was your euphoria bar, right? Your monthly euphoria bar. And we did close above that on the monthly too. Now, granted, you still have that weekly head and shoulder is still in play. But they defended that level. Another big name, Tesla. That got defended as well by $1, but it's got defended by the close. It's all that matters. So there's your monthly. We closed above it. So they did come in and play a little bit of defense, a little bit of a stick save perhaps. But definitely some weirdness going on in this tape. And I think, it's almost ridiculous to say this, but it almost feels like the Fed is kind of the red herring right now, whereas the yen is kind of the bigger elephant in the room that is getting a lot less press here, but it is much bigger. But in any case, looking at the SPX 42.15, and then you got the around 42.50. There should be some resistance there. And again, 40.50 I think is very good support. If we were to go down there, I still think we got to tag it. Triple Qs here getting a bid at, again, noticeably weaker though the last 2 days, right? Only up 0.5% today. I think they were down, or they were only up. I think yesterday it was like 30 basis points, and the spiders are up 39 or something like that. So last 2 days, big tech's been a little bit weaker. It's starting to play catch down to the downside to all these small caps. By the way, I think AMD is out, or perhaps not. I saw the NQ moving a little bit after hours, so I figured. But either way, well, maybe that is. Okay, doesn't look like it. Never mind. Anyways, triple Qs showing a little bit of weakness. There's your level. That should coincide with that 42.15 area on the SPX, right around that 354 handle on the triple Qs. For the NQ, it's 14.6. Pretty, it's clear as day. That's going to be a level to watch, possibly even tomorrow. Russell 2000 here getting a bid up just under 1%. Again, very oversold here. It's getting a snapback. Never closed above this red bar high on the daily, so we still have to negate that with a daily close. And here's your monthly close. Here's the positive, right? You didn't negate that green bar, barely, but it didn't happen. So you have to go with that until proven otherwise. But again, this is still a weak chart. Anyway, you slice it or dice it. Dow here short term can get to 331.50, maybe even 332.50 on the daily. Diamond, and then there's your 20-day moving average there. Semiconductors, we talked about a little bit. That did slice through that gap window. So there's your low, 136.28. And we did slice through it very briefly this morning, and we came off. Again, AMD earnings will kind of move this a little bit after hours. Still don't see anything there. But I will say on the semis, it's not like a huge thing because it's not a power bar, but we did close below the June low on the SMH for what that's worth. So again, we'll watch that. I know some of you guys talked about the SOX yesterday. It's weighted a little bit differently than the SMH, and that was still up 91 basis points, so just about the same. So actually it was up a little bit more than the SMH, is weighted differently because NVIDIA takes up so much market cap in SMH. But either way, there's the SOX there. That's a much closer to gap fill. But a lot of decent support in this area. Anyways, cloud software having a decent day, getting back above that wedge trend line, so that needed to happen here. Short term, I can't rule out 343, 344 on the IGV, and then, you get through that, it's back to 350. There's a lot of resistance up there on the daily, but IGV is holding up. I really would like to see this. I don't like that we close below that low on a weekly. Your positive is you closed above this green bar here on the monthly. So there's your positive there for IGV. If we do go lower, you guys know I'm looking for 315, maybe 305 if we really dump out. Dow Transport's here having an okay day, so up 0.5%. Talked about 13.5 being very good support. Again, weekly, 200 MA. And, for what it's worth, you could still have a higher low here. Wickedly oversold, needs a bounce there. Again, I don't like the gap up. I just don't. Short term, we'll look for this trend line here to be resistance, and then we'll take it from there. If we can put in a higher low, then you can be more constructive. If not, then you may need to go to fill that gap and maybe even make one more slight lower low there on the DJT. Interest rates here. So this was also pretty interesting to me. So if we look at the 2-year, which we always start with, yields here would basically kind of, flat to positive. The 30-year was actually green on the day. Not by much, but take a look here in the last, 10, 15 minutes. Like, big surge there at the end of the day. It's like, why did they have to do that right at the end? Definitely a little strange that they snuck that in there at the last minute, because yields were red all day long, at least on the long end. And the short end, too. 2-year got hit. Or, excuse me, the 2-year bond was hit all day. Check that. The 30-year yield was down up until the last 10 minutes. So they snuck that in there at the last second. Again, lots of just strangeness here going on with the VIX. Like I said, I don't know, something's definitely going on. Feels like tomorrow will definitely be pivotal. But either way, the 2-year here, green, still nothing wrong here on the bigger time frames, but it is pulling back. 5 years, still nothing wrong there. And same thing with the 10 and 30. I can't rule out this trying to test that parity with the Fed funds rate. If we do go down to 40, 50, it'll be interesting to see if it's via panic, and if it's via panic, will bonds bid and yields come back in. Either way, your short-term levels here are around 475 and 440. I do think those get tested eventually. It's just a matter of, do we test that Fed funds parity first? Anyways, XHB. So that was up 1.25%. So nothing terrible here. In the short term, that can get to 70. We'll say 73.50 to 74. Again, it would make sense to back test that 20 and 200, and then it's just going to come down to, can you make a higher low? If you can, then you can simply go higher. I still think it needs to go down and test that 68.50 area, but it is getting a bounce there, and we'll respect it. Right now, VNQ here up 1.7, so that having a good day. Let's take a look here. So the recent high, so we did close above that recent high by 2 cents, so that's a positive there for the VNQ in the short term. Obviously, resistance is right here, 74.66. And again, that's a weekly level, and it's also a monthly level. Here's your negative for VNQ. You guys know I'm already going to say it. You close below the 200-month moving average for the first time ever. So IYR did not. So, and that has a little bit more price history. So if you guys want to follow that, XLRE doesn't even have one. I use the VNQ because it has the most market cap, but yeah, for what it's worth, I don't like that. And regardless, you know, IYR, let's take a look here, 75.66. So you close below this pivot, you know, moving average be damned. You close below that pivot on a monthly. That's just not good. I don't know. Maybe that's what's going on. Maybe that's why they want the VIX cheap, because they know commercial real estate is going to blow up. I don't know. Anyways, XLF up 1% on the day. Short term here, we'll look at the 20 MA. It's interestingly starting to curl back up a little bit, or flatten out rather. So decent day. Actually, banks were leading pretty much all day long. That's generally a positive. Could be just some end of month stuff going on too. You see a lot of short covering and things of that nature. Take a look at the KRE. So up 0.5%. Still got to get back above that 40 handle, especially on a weekly close, but it's trying right now, and it got a bounce there today, so we'll give it the benefit of the doubt. KBE, same thing, up about 0.5%. That's shaping up a little bit better. Not great. And then KBWB, again, I don't like that weekly close last week as well. You know, and it's trying to save that double bottom. Your positive is, I guess, you didn't close below that monthly low like the VNQ did. Broker dealers here getting a bid, so that can still go to 470. I expect it to do that. Possibly even 475, but if it makes a lower high and takes this pivot out, it's going to 440. Commodities here, crude down 92 cents, so we're closing below this level here. Another kind of just strange thing here. So with war going on, right, crude coming in, down over 1%, closing below 81.50. So right now I'm going to give it the downside bias to probably 78. We'll say the 200, and then you've got this trend line, which goes, you know, back to here. If you get through that, it's down to about 74, 75. That will probably be a buy level, just so you guys know. Just throw that out there in advance. Little freebie there. Again, it matters, you know, if and when we get there, what it looks like. You know, if we go down there and bear flag for 2 weeks, then it might be different. But for now, that's a tentative level to look at. XLE holding up okay, up 1/3%. If that flags here, this is setting up for a move to 82. I think that happens. XOP up 1.25. That's in a little bit better shape here. I'm still not doing anything with it. 150 still should be resistance for now. OIH, that could be setting up a bear pattern as well. You'll have some support at the 200, right around 310. Through that, it's, you know, about 280 to 290 though, so just be aware of that. CCJ, big pop there. I'm not sure if did they have news today? Or they reported? Okay, so they reported today. Big pop there. Wow. I did not look at uranium much today, so just seeing this for the first time. No new highs though. So I still think this has got to do weekly consolidation. I could be wrong, maybe even monthly consolidation, but it is holding up really well, up 8%. Big move there for the CCJ. URNM up 4%. URA up 4.2 as well. Let's look at some of these others. UEC getting a nice bid. No new highs there. Yeah, so nice pop there for CCJ, and that's holding up well. No real problems. Nat Gas also a big pop here, up 7.5. Take a look here. Got a monthly close above that red now. So big move there for Natty. It's kind of a long time coming. It takes a long time sometimes to turn this corner here. But next stop here is $4 and then really up to 5. So that is turned the ship around. And you got a monthly close above that breakdown bar. So that's a big deal for Natty. And $4 is obviously the whole round number. But if we just take a fib here, you can see you got a 25% retrace right there. And then through that, $5 is your 382. That was your last big breakdown area. And then past that, the 50% is 6. That may be kind of a lofty goal for the medium term, but I think medium term 4 to 5 is definitely on the table. In fact, I'm betting on it. Anyways, so dollar index here, that held up. So again, market's up big today, VIX down big, and the dollar up big. So lots of weirdness going on here. No new highs for the DXY. We did come close to that 107 handle again, but that's a pretty good outside candle reversing yesterday's move. So, yesterday it looked like we were going to roll back over and right back up today. So big pop there. Again, the yen coming in. This is, kind of why they need to intervene. If dollar breaks out, it's going to put pressure on everything, as you all are well aware. So again, weekly chart, this pattern, there is nothing wrong with that. That can go higher. You've consolidated beneath that red bar. If that moving average starts to catch up, that 20 EMA, that can blow up to 109.50. So I think that can be a risk right now, and the dollar index is hanging in there just fine. One of them's lying, right? It's got to be the market or the dollar. Gold here pulling back a little bit. This was overbought. We talked about that, and got pushed just below that 2,000 handle today. Nothing terrible there. This may need to pull back to 1950, maybe even 1900. Again, if there's more talks of containment of the war, and if it doesn't escalate, then this can come in a little bit, because gold is up on fear right now. So just be aware of that. But if this consolidates, it can go to 2050. We'll keep it at that for now. Silver down 2%, but nothing terrible. Again, still on the weekly time frame. Just a little inside bar there. If that consolidates, that can go higher as well. Nothing has changed there. Platinum flat to positive today. It did bid up a little bit and then came in a little bit of a pause day. Again, 960 is still resistance here. In the near term, palladium still needs to go lower. And then copper here, a little pause day. Nothing terrible, but I don't like how we back tested that wedge and then pulled back in. You also essentially kind of kissed that 200-week moving average for all intents and purposes, and then pulled back in there. Again, I'm still looking for one more drop in that. Nothing's changed. Bitcoin here, again, still holding up, no problems here. My only concern right now is if we get that ETF news. I did hear some more rumblings about that. Would it be a sell the news, at least in the near term, possibly to 30,100 or 31,500. So just keep that in mind. But right now, consolidation pattern, moving averages are trying to catch up, and we'll just leave it at that for now. But it is holding up just fine. Again, lastly here, so again, just be careful trading tomorrow. Very strange price action from the VIX, down a little bit after hours. Let's take a look at AMD. Well, that's taking a hit, so that's down $4 after hours and getting a bounce here. So there we go. So 93.50, we're getting a little bit of a bounce. Pretty good dump there for AMD. So 94 would take you almost down to that, yeah, basically down to that low. Let's take a look at the SMH. So that's down like $1 or so, and let's see if Nvidia is down. Yeah, that's down $2-3 in the after hours. So interesting. So AMD coming in again. We'll see where it opens at tomorrow. Dipping down to 94.20 now. We'll have to see where that opens tomorrow. But big deal. The big picture though is for me the SPX. They saved that monthly close, so I'll respect that right now. Tomorrow we're going into some resistance here. I don't know, man. If they're up into the Fed, it's kind of ballsy to take a short down here for like a swing. because you could get squeezed. But I don't know, that move in the VIX today, it's got me really suspicious. Either somebody knows something, like some intervention is going to happen in the yen, or somebody might be betting on a crash and looking for a cheap hedge. That's the way I see it. I think tomorrow's definitely an inflection point. Needless to say, it's an FOMC. It always will be. But yeah, definitely get the sense that we're about to make a decision here sooner rather than later. Anyways, guys, going to wrap it up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you guys all tomorrow.